Hey guys, and welcome back to ScarletSprites. In light of last week's announcements from SNK, a lot of people were asking me what my thoughts were on those types of things, and I really don't do these types of videos, but given that the channel is primarily SNK and Neo Geo related stuff, I thought that enough people had asked that I'd go ahead and share some thoughts today. "2019 has really been the year of the Genesis. We've seen some really impressive things for that console, including a reimagining of Sega's 16-bit console, Retrobit issuing licensed controllers that are pretty solid. We have indie developers producing physical games. There's the Classics compilation for Switch, PS4, and Xbox, and then later this year, we're finally getting a Genesis classic that is being handled by Sega themselves. I mean, I dare to say it, but the Genesis really hasn't seen this much love since the 90s. So the question is a similar type of year in store for SNK and the Neo Geo in the not too distant future? Now that seems like a tall order for a company and a system that wasn't nearly as popular in consumers' homes as the Genesis was. That said, SNK has been testing the waters with their characters and franchises of late and seems to have garnered enough interest with the release of SNK Heroines, the 40th Anniversary Collection, and of course, the Neo Geo Mini. Now more recently, pre-orders have gone up for the new Samurai Showdown, and they've mentioned that the King of Fighters 15 will be seeing a 2020 release. But wait, there's more! At an investors meeting last week, SNK revealed plans for a Neo Geo 2, which is intended as a true successor to the original console and not a follow-up to the Neo Geo Mini. They also announced a new Metal Slug game as well as a Neo Geo 3 further down the road. So wow, this is kind of a lot to take in. And I think before we even get started, it's important to really temper expectations for the console. I don't know that anyone should expect things to magically shift from being the big three to suddenly the big four with this announcement. My best guess really is that it will be a somewhat niche system that has games that align to less powerful hardware, which, I mean, that's not a great leap on my part. But it's also listed as a semi-open platform, which indicates that it will probably ship with a few games included on internal storage, and you'll have the ability to then buy new games as well. Now, whether those games are in physical in form of something like an SD card, or the console connects to a web store, is really anyone's guess at this point. Even with lighter hardware, I could see this being mildly successful if SNK is able to tap into the indie market the way Nintendo has with its own eShop. So the new Metal Slug I was a little foggy on. I wasn't sure when I read this that they were saying that the game was coming out for consoles, meaning current gen hardware like Switch, Xbox, and PS4, or if it was actually going to be available for the Neo Geo 2. Now obviously SNK Heroines and the upcoming Samurai Showdown are going to be hitting current mainstream consoles, so it seems somewhat reasonable that King of Fighters 15 and the new Metal Slug would do that as well, unless they release Metal Slug and King of Fighters as launch titles for the Neo Geo 2 and then later move them over to other consoles after they've kind of skimmed their own market for their console. And that is all provided, of course, that the Neo Geo 2 would be capable of running those games in the first place. Now, I don't want to get too carried away here with there being so many unknowns out there still, and quite frankly, speculation and rumors kind of annoy me in general, and I don't really find a lot of value in talking about these kinds of things normally. But touching back on the point I just made about Metal Slug and King of Fighters 15, it will be an absolute crime if you are unable to play the most recent installments of these Neo Geo franchises on a Neo Geo 2. I think that pretty much just has to happen because it would be a slap in the face to buy what is being touted as the true Neo Geo successor, only to have to then purchase and play sequels of the original console's most iconic titles on other platforms. So beyond that being a disappointment, that would also be an embarrassment to everything the original hardware stood for. And if that's not dramatic enough, the Neo Geo 2 really needs to ship with clicky thumbsticks and or an arcade stick as well. No cutting corners this time, guys. If you're branding this as the Neo Geo 2, it had damn well better live up to the name. Otherwise, you should really just call it something else and spare yourselves. That's all I have for today, guys. Not a ton of information to work off of yet. I know I said temper expectations, but obviously hearing something like this, it's hard not to get a little excited for it. I'll definitely be watching for more news and giving some takes as things progress. You guys should do the same things in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you all next time. Later, guys.